People around. Should be getting on here just a second. And there she is.
Whoa, here I am. Here I am, up close and personal.
Right, me too. I was like, maybe I
Like,
can scoot this
whoa,
back a little.
whoa.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's been a crazy day today with surgery and physical therapy and lots going on today.
Yeah.
So your dad had foot surgery and I had physical therapy on my hand. So it was crazy because I was talking to the physical therapist and she was like, yeah, so you're gonna, we're gonna go through all this stuff and we're gonna have, steps and progress that you're gonna make. And I said, yeah, I get that, and that's fine. And I said, because I coach mental toughness, so I get it. And she goes, oh, you do? That's really cool.
I know it's really cool. Like anytime, like now I'll have a parent come up to me and be like, "Oh, they're really struggling with their confidence right now." I'm like, "Well, I have the thing for you." No, okay,
Yeah,
whatever it is, okay, here you go.
let's whip out that workbook and we
Right?
can talk to you about that all you want.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's been awesome since I've been working with the CBC team. They're just so, um, I'm just so excited because they're so into it. And they had their first tournament, and I talked to their coach about Quentin about how they did. And he was like, they really did a good. He goes, they just really thrived. And so he was really proud of how they did. And of course, I'm like, okay, well, is that because they're doing the work? Is that just because, they
yeah,
had a good tournament? And so I'm super anxious to talk to them this following week and this upcoming week and talk to them and see like what did you do that made you have such a success
yeah.
and see where they're at. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, it was really cool being on that call with them last week. They had some really, really good things to say, and they were all really open-minded. And I think that's the key to all of this is if you can be open-minded, then you can achieve anything, and everything is totally available to you. But if you're hesitant or not open to wanting to change, especially when in the mental aspect of it, then it's going to be a challenge for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think most kids, well, at least most kids that maybe just because it's where we're at and what we work on, but they, it's more visible now. People are talking about it more. People are, it's just more of an awareness, which is kind of what we're talking about today, but it's out there for people to understand and to get that, maybe our minds are playing a role for us. And maybe it is um, something that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And, like even in physical therapy today, she's like, it's crazy, but we're finding in science that, our minds are playing a huge role in healing and, just how our bodies are progressing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, it absolutely 100% starts with how our thoughts are. And you get our thoughts under control and get our thoughts into a place where we can visualize what we want and we can see ourselves healing and see what we want. All of a sudden, our bodies go, okay, I can do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we've only seen that every single time we practice it or use it with someone else. It's crazy when you have like a mental illness of, depression, anxiety. It's a literal chemical imbalance in your brain. And it's not something that you can just get over.
Right.
It's literally like imbalance. And it's the same thing as if when you get sick, when you get a cold, it's like you have a virus, you have things that are attached like you have bad cells attacking good cells kind of thing. And it's the same thing in your brain. You have the bad attacking the good, except for with your brain, it can be, a medicine can help with that, but that's not the only thing because your brain is so incredibly powerful. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It works forever. It doesn't ever take a break. Yeah. And it just goes and goes and goes. And so it's like, of course you would have to take time and just work through all of your thoughts and learn how to manage it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I listen to some people that have anxiety, or they have, they're bipolar, or they have some kind of disorder. And the thought of, I need the drug to calm me down is a lot of their first thing. I can't do it until I have my drug. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's fine. And that's, that is that balance for them. But what would happen if they took the drug and had that balance, but also learned to balance their mind too? That, it's once you get under control, learning that, okay, now I know how I want to feel. Can I feel that if I wasn't on the drug? What if this all is, if I can visualize myself and I can see myself being the way I want to be, can I do it without another substance that has to control?
And I think
interesting thought I've always had.
I think all medications, when it comes to depression, anxiety, bipolar, whatever it is, schizophrenia, whatever the illness is, I think they're supposed to be temporary. It's a temporary help, temporary, like it can help stop things, but you have to do the work still. One of my friends, it was actually really exciting for her when she got to start taking her doses down and get off of her depression pills overall. And it was like super exciting. It was exciting for all of us. It was like, I don't know if I can do it. What's going to happen when I stop? What if I go through another phase? What if I have another depressive episode? Do I have to go back on it? Like what changes? What do I have to work on? And I think that it's something that will kind of be that roller coaster through your whole life, of course. But I definitely think that if you put in the time and you put in the work, that you don't have to rely on them. Yeah. You can rely on your own thoughts and your own teachings that you've taught yourself.
Well, it's just like, it's always that good angel and the devil, right, on either side. And sometimes our subconscious is that devil side that just keeps going to the past. You did this, you did this, you did this. Well, I'm not that anymore. And so then your angel side, your prefrontal cortex comes in and says, this is where you are now. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? And you're not your past. You're not, you're not what you used to be. What do you want? And you can control that. You can control that back of your mind, that little voice in your head, which sometimes gets really loud.
Yeah.
And we just have to learn to say, no, this is not right. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And that takes a lot of training and it takes a lot of time. But coming from experience for myself, it can be done. And it's the most amazing feeling when you finally get to the spot where you're like, heck yeah, I can do whatever I want. And I'm not my past. I'm not, I can learn and I can grow and I can be whatever I want because I'm in control.
Yeah.
So listen to that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it kind of brings us to what we're talking about today. We're talking about kind of the progression. This isn't, I know that if you and I had this same conversation, even 2-3 years ago, it would have been a very different conversation. And so it's interesting to see, like, we've talked about how COVID has put in a significant amount of awareness to mental health because it was like mental health was trending, which is amazing. And it's only gone up and it's only going to continue to go up because people are becoming more comfortable in understanding that they're not alone. They don't have to be alone. and it's okay to come out with it. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less of a person. It actually makes you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just actually looking before here just to kind of see what other kind of organizations have like not bought into it, but started to promote mental health as well. And the NCAA is what really brought us to this, is because they partnered with LG during March Madness for mental health specifically. And so like that's absolutely incredible. That's never happened before. Never happened before. And you look it up, you look up sports organizations that are promoting, you know, mental health or whatever, or something, mental health with the sports organizations, and it's a long list. You have charities and many different organizations to get help, NFL, NCAA, ESPN, like the list goes on, and it's absolutely incredible. Same thing 3 years ago, if I would have looked up the same thing, it wouldn't have been that. It would have probably been news articles of someone coming out about it maybe once.
Right.
You know, it would have been a very different. Yeah, it wasn't just like websites. It wasn't literal websites. Team USA, for the Olympics and everything, has a whole page on their website devoted straight to mental health. And I think that's absolutely amazing.
It is amazing. And it's amazing because I think, you know, we've talked about it and we've shown it that athletes are there's so much pressure on them. It's their outside influences, it's their parents, it's their coaches, it's their teams, it's the whole just being great. And they have so much pressure. And not saying they have any, I mean, I don't know. Can you say that they have more pressure than anyone else? No, because we don't know what pressures everyone has, but they sure, because they're in the spotlight a lot, they sure have a lot of pressure that is seen.
Well, it just depends person to person.
Exactly.
And how they handle it as well. It's the same thing with celebrities. They have a million billion people, billions of people pressuring them constantly, and you know, they don't get the privacy, and they're always in the face of everything, and that's pressure, and all of them handle it differently.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
some of them handle it better than others, but
right. Well, how many, when they get to the pressure, that's when they get into the drugs and the alcohol, because they have to get away from it. They have to get away from that pressure. So they have to do something that clouds their mind so they don't think about it all the time, or they just escape into somewhere that no one can find them, you know? And people put so much pressure on people, plain and simple. And it's so tough to think that we put it on ourselves. And until we learn how to manage that and to say, I don't have to listen to what you say. I don't have to feel what you are putting out there. It's all on me and how I feel. And once you can learn that and realize that you're the one that either is taking on what everyone else is dishing at you and not putting up your shield and you're taking it all on, or you can put up your shield and say, I love myself for who I am, and I'm going to manage my mental health the way I need to so that I can stay sane.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's more accepting now to manage in more healthy ways and more healthy habits and things like that, coping mechanisms, than to resort to those really bad coping mechanisms that can lead to addiction or making any of your mental illnesses worse.
Yeah.
So I think it's honestly amazing the lives that have been saved because of the awareness that has been brought.
That's not a bad word anymore.
It's not a bad word.
Not a bad word anymore.
It's
okay.
Saying that I have anxiety and I have depression and I have ADHD, saying all these things I'm okay to say it. It's okay for me to say, oh, I struggle with this because of this. Yeah. It's okay. And most of the time people are going to be like, honestly, I'm going through the exact same thing. So I get it. Don't even worry about it.
Right. And I think that's why we share our stories, is because we're real. And we've gone through, I feel like, you know, I go through depression all the time. You go through depression all the time. We have our anxiety moments, and we've had the pressures of athletics and being in sports and all the pressures of life in general. And no, we haven't had the greats, you know, like some people that are in the spotlight all the time. But at the same time, we've experienced life enough to know that it's real.
Yeah.
And to be able to learn from that and to teach to that, I think is really important. And to know that we're in your corner when you are struggling, and that we do have the tools, and we can teach you how to manage and to get your thoughts under control.
Yeah.
So that you can be the very, very best that you can be.
Yeah. And I mean, I've dealt with anxiety for like 13 years. And it's been a roller coaster throughout all those 13 years. And like just kind of thinking of it, experience of how I deal with my emotions now versus then. When I was active in my youth sorority, um, I had, it was a roller coaster there, but once I was reaching higher levels within it, my anxiety just really just flared up to the max. Hi, Aubrey. Thanks for joining. um, but my anxiety just absolutely was through the roof, and I couldn't handle anything. Someone said one thing to me, and I was like, done. I couldn't handle it, and I didn't know what to do about it. And even years after not being directly involved with it, when those past memories would come up of like those things happening, or like in my current life, it was like deja vu type things, I still would like panic. And now when those things happen, I can handle it now. And like my mindset now, because I've worked so hard, when I think of those things, I don't get down on myself. I don't get anxious about it. I don't drive myself crazy about it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, everyone goes through their struggles with everyday things. And, you know, we'd love to hear any stories that, you know, what happens when you do feel anxious about something, or you're nervous about something. What goes through your mind, and how do you deal with that? And so, you know, Aubrey, you're there, and if you would like to join in and give us a little shout out of what you go through, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, we would love to hear it. If you want to ask us questions, how to deal with the pressure, because I know you have a lot of pressure when you're playing, and keeping your confidence up, or whatever it is, because I know you're super dedicated to your sport. Go ahead and let us know if you have any questions, or give us an experience or something, and we can help you kind of break down and work through it.
But yeah, it's just know that you're not alone. And I think that's the biggest thing. People need to understand that they're not alone, that a lot of people have the exact same thing. And I think this is the biggest thing for these lives, is for people to understand that others go through the same thing, to share stories, because once we share a story, it could resonate with you.
Okay. Go to practice, get a good workout in, and we could talk more tomorrow.
But I think that's the biggest thing that we want to start sharing.
I panic all the time. What makes you want to panic if you have time? Is it like coaches yelling? Is it making a mistake? Is it feeling, just feeling the pressure of your teammates or your parents?
We'll let her take her time and answer, and she can get back to you. Oh,
Yelling. Yelling can be extremely overwhelming. What I tell some of the teams that I coach is the yelling, a lot of times it's because the coaches are so incredibly like engaged. Parents too. So engaged and so everything. Yeah, everything can be overwhelming sometimes too. But the yelling is because we're like so like we're wanting to win, we're excited, everything going on. But I always tell them, don't listen to the way I'm saying something. Listen to the actual content of what I'm saying. So if I'm screaming at you to pass, maybe I'm saying that there's a wide open pass, or, like whatever it is, it's not yelling at you because I'm mad at you or you're doing something wrong. It's because also when you're in a big gym, it is so loud in there anyways. And so we want to make sure that we're heard. So it's really about what am I actually saying to you rather than saying like the tone of what I'm saying to you, if that makes sense.
And if you look at it as not really yelling, but whatever your coaches or your teammates are saying or your parents are yelling, that you're taking it as a yelling, maybe take it in a different way of they're not yelling, but they're trying to teach me. I need to learn from whatever they're saying, and take it um, in that context instead of as a negative connotation. Does that make sense? So if you kind of wrap it around, like Ali said, take what she's saying, not the how loud she's saying it or how loud whoever is yelling is saying it. It's that there's something that needs to be learned from whatever's being said.
Yeah. It's just the passion, especially with your coaches. It's all extremely passionate because we all care too much about all of you and these teams and these programs. We all love you and everybody else on the teams. So it's always, 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 always take what he's saying. Okay. Thank you, Aubrey. We'll see you tomorrow. That was awesome. Yeah, I'm anytime someone can come on or wants to come on, we want to help you guys. So we love the commentary and whatever you guys have. That's only going to make us better, and we can help you get through what's going on.
Right. And I just want to go back to that yelling part because I don't like to be yelled at, and sometimes some coaches, especially when you get into the older age groups, your coaches are going to be super passionate. They are going to get angry, and they are, because either you're not performing the way they want you to, or you're not doing it. But again, you can choose to take it however you want. So you can choose to take it as a way of, oh, they're mad at me and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. Or you can say, okay, I choose to take it as, I just screwed up. What do I need to do from that? I need to fix it. And so I need to go do better. I need to try on my teammates. I need to correct whatever error I'm making and make it about improving instead of taking it internal about I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
And when we get yelled at, we all want to just collapse inside and take it so personal that it's all about you. Well, it's not. It's the whole game. It's the whole whatever is being performed right then and there, that whoever's yelling is passionate about that, and it's not about you're a bad person.
Yeah.
They want you to learn and do a little, do something different.
Well, and it's the same thing. It's a misinterpretation. So if you think about it in this way, you get a text from someone, and the way you read it is as this person's super mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
Just by the way that you're reading this text.
Right.
You respond back, and your response is a little hesitant and a little like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And they might be like,
what are you talking about?
It's not a big deal. Like, why are you freaking out? Or it might be the next time you see them and you're like, oh my God, I hope they're still not mad at me. And they're like, I was never mad at you. You misinterpreted it. It's the same exact thing. It's obviously with the text, it's taking out the tone.
Right.
But a lot of times your tone of voice, like if a player were to give me attitude, it makes me feel they don't care what I have to say. They don't want to learn from me. But if they don't have an attitude to their tone of voice, if they, look me in the eyes, or they, actually seem interested, then that's where I'm going to be like, okay, they actually do want to learn. But someone could just I naturally have an attitude. So if I'm talking, I might sometimes come off like I don't care what you have to say, or like just kind of like brush off ish. And that might not be the way that I'm wanting to come off. Like, I might stand like this and I got my RBF going on, but that's not what I'm wanting to interpret, and that's not what I'm wanting to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. Body language and tone are huge for everything. I mean, how many times have we talked about that just between you and me? And teenagers have, major attitude, have major body language, and it's not always good. And so, but if you come back and think about it, when you have that body language and you have that attitude, you are thinking something, and whatever you're thinking is coming across. And you may not come right out and say what's coming because you know that it's not going to be good. So therefore, your body and your attitude are going to portray it for you. So therefore, the person that you're having an interaction with sees it, and they're going to portray it because you're not communicating. So they're going to portray it the way they want to.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the biggest misconception of body language and attitude. You may not think you have an attitude, but your body is telling you a totally different story.
And sometimes it's like you're not even mad about what's going on, or this person that you're talking to, maybe your coach is trying to like give you advice or something, and you're coming off as you have an attitude, but maybe you're mad about something completely else. Like, maybe you made a mistake in there and your coach wasn't mad about that. They were trying to tell you about something else, and you were still too worked up about that one mistake or whatever it was that you were mad about in the game. That's coming off to them. And just because the person you're talking to might not be the one that you're actually frustrated with or have an attitude with for whatever reason, you might be it might be something completely else. Like, it might not have anything to do with the sport. It might have been something that happened at school, or your parents pissed you off or something, but it's coming off because it's in your brain and that's on top of your mind. It's coming off to the person you're talking to.
Right. Well, and I think that's a good point too. I mean, we have to understand that. Sorry, is that better? Whatever. We have to understand that, communication absolutely is everything. So if we can trust our coaches and we can trust our teammates to talk to them and be coachable, and when a coach is talking to you and yelling at you, instead of getting a chip on your shoulder, look them in the eye and say, okay, coach, I get it. What else can I do to be better? I think we taught you all the time, when you were playing sports, is you want to learn, you want to get better. So the only way to do that is communication with your coach. And it was a hard lesson for you to learn because it's hard to ask those questions. It's hard to say, what else can I do better? And sometimes they don't know, so you think that they don't care. And sometimes they'll tell you.
Yeah.
But you have to ask the hard questions. And that is communication, and talking about it is probably the hardest thing that anyone can learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's probably one of the most intimidating things to sit down and talk with a superior, especially a coach. I never wanted to talk to any of my coaches about anything, whether it was what could I do to get better, or why am I not getting playing time, or whatever it is. I never wanted to have that conversation, because what if I say something and it comes off as I'm complaining, and then I lose my playing time, I lose my starting spot, I lose whatever. What if I get punished for it? And I think that's a terrible, terrible mindset. And I think that shows just in itself how much the mentality of sports is changing. the way that I grew up playing sports is not the way that I'm teaching the girls that I coach now. I have a completely open and honest conversation with parents, with players. I want them to ask me. I want them to come up and say, what do I need to do to get better? Why am I not starting? Or what can I do to be starting? And I make that known to them all the time. I would rather you guys tell me the truth than lie to me, because I know when you're lying, and it just hurts my feelings. It just hurts my feelings.
It makes you a better player, you know, when you, I mean, think of your high school coaches and you're still really good friends with them because you develop that relationship because you started talking, because you started asking why, and you started asking, what can I do more? And you learned, and just think when, you know, as you got older and in situations even now, you have the ability to ask the hard questions because we gave you that confidence to say, how can I get better?
Yeah.
And not keeping it internal. And I think a lot of, you know, what we're talking about is mental health, and the ones that struggle so deeply is because they're not communicating. A lot of times it's because they're not communicating. They're not communicating what's troubling them. They're not communicating that they're just self-doubting themselves because either they're getting yelled at or they're not performing the way they think they should be. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they're doing exactly what they need to, but they aren't feeling it within themselves.
Yeah.
And they're not communicating that with their staff.
Yeah. The what ifs. The what ifs drop your confidence, and the what ifs are all on you. And that's one of the craziest things ever is the what ifs are completely in your brain.
Yeah.
No one else has created them. Maybe someone has said something, but then you turned it into the what if.
Yeah.
And the what if creates self-doubt, it drops the confidence, and it will forever hold you back.
It's so crazy when you learn that your thoughts create your whole world. And I mean, I think the day that I truly discovered that, oh my God, my life could be so much different if I would have just thought a different way. And now that I do, and now that I'm in control of most of my thoughts, I still have days, of course, but you know, for the most part, I can turn those days pretty quickly when I'm not thinking correctly. And it's amazing. It's amazing to think, God, you know, all I have to do is change my thought. And, you know, not everything, you know, life is life, you know, things are going to happen, but okay, maybe it happened for a reason. What's that reason?
I feel like when you finally get this like mindset of I'm creating this thoughts, it's my own thoughts. It's like gaining consciousness to the world. It's like gaining consciousness in a different way, because it's like you learn that everything, literally everything that has gone wrong or like hasn't been what you wanted is because of your mindset. Yeah. Like if I wake up in the morning and I say, I'm going to have a great day, or I wake up and I'm like, oh, I got to get this work done. Okay. Instead of, ugh, I don't want to get out of bed. Ugh, I don't want to work. Like, you know, and having that like downer mentality, especially when you first wake up. I wake up now every day and I'm like, okay, I got to get this done and this done. Maybe I'll play a little bit of games, and I'll do this, and okay, cool. Sounds good.
Yeah. I'll have a great day.
And then it's a great day. And I think it's crazy, and I bring up my habit tracker all the time, but I track my emotions on there too. And I think for like 2 weeks straight, I've had happy at least. And there's other emotions with it, but happy every single day. Or like maybe the happy for the day is calm or okay. Sometimes it's just okay. Like I'm not like chipper. I'm not chipper. Some days I wake up and I am pumped. I am ready to go. And some days I'm like, oh, it's just a day, just another day. There's nothing bad going wrong. It's just I'm here to get everything done, and it's going to be good. So I'm going to get through it.
Well, I mean, I think it's also changed our relationship. You know, I think about when we first started and to now, and I just feel like there's not the struggle. Like when we first started, there was kind of a battle a little bit between us, and we haven't had that in a really long time. And even when one of us isn't at our top, the other one recognizes it and just, is able to chill from it, and we're not battling each other.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's because we've learned, number one, we've learned together even more, but at the same time, we've learned that, okay, well, what's going on? There's something going on with you, so I need to recognize that. Or there's something going on with me. And we either talk about it or we change our mindset and don't take it as something against us.
Yeah.
I'm not taking your frustration on life or whatever as my fault, because
we used to, like, if you were mad, like if you came on the phone and I was like ready to be productive and you were just not in the mood for it, then I would get that defensive attitude, and then it just didn't work. Mm-hmm. And that happened all of the time. And literally the other day, we were trying to get stuff done, and I was like, "You're grumpy. You're not in a good mood." And you're like, "You're right. I'm not in a good mood, and I'm not feeling it. I don't want to." And I was like, "Okay, go do your thing. We'll talk later. We'll do this meeting tomorrow." Because, like, truthfully, especially if we're recording a podcast or, really trying to break down the business plan or whatever it is, we are a mental toughness, a mental health awareness brand. If we are not in the right mindset to do it, how can anybody else believe it?
Right.
How can anybody else believe it? How are we going to be helping others if we're not even in the right spot? And so it's like, it's okay to say, we'll do this tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's what we're learning. We're learning, we're doing the work, and we're getting stronger. And I see that all the time. I see it constantly, how much stronger you are, how much stronger I feel all the time. And it's empowering. And I want to be able to empower others as well. And I hope that we are. I hope that we're going to get it out there, and that we've learned and we have the tools to make it happen.
Yeah, and we're going to keep pushing the mental health awareness and just hope it skyrockets.
It will skyrocket.
It's going to skyrocket. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But not hope. Yes, there is hope with it, of course, and I know it's going to go. It's just, I don't think everybody's quite ready. I think everybody's really close. I think everybody's really close and is understanding the importance of it. I don't think everybody's ready for us yet. I think soon. It's coming, though. It's coming. It's too out there. Everybody's understanding it and working on it, and I think we're almost to the point where everybody's going to hop right on.
Yeah. People are excited to know, but this, when you have to work at something hard, it's scary. And it's scary to think, I can do this on my own. I can do it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just can't. You need a little help.
Hi, Kendall.
So. All right. Well,
Kendall, do we want to see if Kendall has anything she wants to share with us? Do you have any thoughts, experiences, or things that you want to ask us to help you and better your game? If she doesn't, that's totally fine. We'll go ahead and just log off. So, this was really good, though. I thought this went really well. I hope everybody's ready to just stop worrying about other people judging us for our mental health. I think everybody needs to just accept it. It is what it is, and our minds are so incredibly powerful.
Well, and I think if everyone can learn that communication is so powerful, just talking it out and just finding that person that you can talk to, if it's a parent, a coach, a counselor, us, whatever it is, to get those feelings out when they get stuck, because they can get stuck so quickly, and then our minds just unravel.
Yeah.
And once we can learn that we can talk it out and unravel everything and just make it smooth again, then our thoughts can get straightened out and life becomes so much easier. We don't
Yeah.
have to beat ourselves up because there's really no sense. And we're the only ones doing it. No one else is doing it to us.
Yeah.
So we let it happen.
Yeah. Well, this was a really, really great live. Thank you, Aubrey, Kendall, everybody for joining, for giving us your little feedback so we can help you guys. And we're ready to grow as long as you all are ready to grow.
Absolutely, 100%.
So,
Okay.
okay, we'll see everybody next week.
All right.